Welcome aboard, Lady Justice, Liberty Press.
All right, let's talk about something that affects pretty much anyone with a smartphone these days. It all boils down to one powerful idea: transparency. Specifically, your right to record the police. So here's the big question. Can you actually be arrested for just filming the police in public? You'd think the answer would be a simple yes or no, right? Well, it's not. The real answer was hammered out in a major court case that really pitted our constitutional rights against police authority. This is the story that defines just how much power your camera really has. Okay, let's get into the story. It all starts with a guy named Philip Turner. He's a citizen journalist, one of those people who believes in accountability and regularly films police activity to make sure everything's on the up and up. Little did he know, one of these days was going to spark a huge legal fight that would go all the way to federal court. So picture this, it's 2015. Philip Turner is just standing on a public sidewalk, filming the outside of the Fort Worth police station. That's it. Suddenly, two officers walk up and demand his ID. Now, Turner knows he's not breaking any laws, so he politely says no. And what happens next? They arrest him. Just like that, he's in the back of a patrol car. So what happened to Turner? Well, they eventually let him go. No charges were ever filed. But here's the thing. For Turner, the arrest itself was the problem. He felt like his basic rights had been completely trampled on. So he wasn't about to just let it go. He sued, and that's what kicked off this whole legal showdown. And that takes us from a sidewalk in Fort Worth right into the courtroom. The whole thing boiled down to one huge question. Is the simple act of filming something that's actually protected by the Constitution? Turner's case was built on two really big constitutional ideas. First up, the First Amendment. His argument was that filming is a form of free speech, and they stopped him from speaking. Second, the Fourth Amendment. This is the one that protects all of us from unreasonable seizures, which is just a legal way of saying you can't be arrested for no good reason. And wow, the court's ruling on that first point was crystal clear. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals didn't mince words. They said that filming the police is a recognized First Amendment right and that it's essential for government transparency. I mean, that is a huge win, right? A total game changer for citizen journalists and activists. But hold on, because the story gets a little more complicated. Yeah, this is where we get into the fine print. Even though the court said, yes, you have this right, the officers involved got a sort of get-out-of-jail-free card. Thanks to a really tricky legal idea, things are about to get a bit nuanced. So you're probably thinking, wait a minute, if the court just said it's a constitutional right, how did the officers who violated it get off the hook? And that is the million-dollar question. The answer comes down to two little words: qualified immunity. So what on earth is qualified immunity? Well, think of it like a legal shield for government officials. It basically says you can't sue them for doing their job unless they violate a right that was clearly established when it happened. And those two words, clearly established, are everything. Okay, here's a simple analogy to wrap your head around this. Imagine a referee in a football game makes a really bad call on a play where the rulebook is kind of fuzzy. That ref probably won't get suspended for that one call, right? But you can bet the league is going to send out a memo the next day clarifying that rule for every single game going forward. That's pretty much exactly what happened in this case. So here's the bottom line. The court decided that back in 2015, this right to record the police wasn't technically clearly established law in that part of the country. So the officers got a pass. But, and this is the big but, because of Philip Turner's lawsuit, the right is now considered clearly established. This case literally wrote the rule for the future. But hold on, remember there were two parts to this lawsuit, right? The officers might have gotten immunity for the First Amendment part, stopping the filming, but that second claim about the unlawful arrest, the Fourth Amendment, oh, that was a whole different ballgame. Okay, this really lays it all out. On the one hand, you have the First Amendment claim about filming. The result? A huge win for the future, but the officers got immunity because the rule wasn't clearly established. But then you look at the Fourth Amendment claim, the illegal arrest. The court said, yep, that was illegal, and boom, immunity denied. And why the difference? Because the rule that you can't just arrest someone for no reason, that has always been clearly established. And this was the knockout punch on that second claim. The court made it absolutely clear. Just filming something in public and even refusing to show your ID when you haven't done anything wrong does not give an officer probable cause to arrest you. Period. The arrest was illegal, a direct smackdown of what those officers did. Okay, so after all that legal back and forth, what does this actually mean for you and I today? Let's boil it all down to the stuff you really need to know. All right, first things first, you got to know where this new rule applies. This specific case, Turner versus Driver, sets the law for what's called the Fifth Circuit that covers Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Now, other parts of the country have similar rulings, but if you're in one of those three states, this case is the law of the land. So let's recap the big takeaways here. Number one, if you're in Texas, Louisiana, or Mississippi, you have a clearly established right to film the police in public. Number two, this right has limits. You can't get in their way or interfere with what they're doing. Number three, just pulling out your phone and recording is not, by itself, suspicious behavior that means you have to show them your ID. And finally, number four, refusing to give your ID when you're not doing anything wrong is not a reason to arrest you. You know, when you really think about it, this case did more than just clarify a law. It put power back in the hands of citizens. It confirmed that your smartphone can be a powerful tool for accountability, and that simply standing up for your rights is not a crime. So this case gave us all a shield. The real question now is, how are we going to use it?
Have you heard the word? thepolicerecord.com/invite/LJLP. Get you some discountage over there at thepolicerecord.com. Hope to see you there.
I think one of those was good.
I messed up, sorry.
I think one of them is good. I think we're good. You want to do it again?
All
right. Okay. I'm not going to say three. I'm going to say one, I'm going to say two, and then we're going to
Sure.
Okay. One.
Blur
Two.
AI music.
Beneath the city lights, you stand so strong, the silent guardian, where the rights belong. Through the crowd you see the truth unfold, your heart beats steady, your hands are bold, in the silence, in the pain.